Welcome back, Exiles. Scuffed Havoc 616, aka Ziggy D here, hosting while Havoc's away. I'm joined once again by RaizQT. We're going to be moving into the third race with
Hello, everybody. Scuffed Ziggy D here.
Perfect. We're going to be having Havoc and Zizaran face off against BalorMage and Belakayy. It's a Belakayy, right?
I was hoping that you're gonna tell me, actually.
Oh, okay.
I would just like to point out that Belakayy and BalorMage, not particularly confident. BalorMage coming in with the race time gonna get destroyed title, and his teammate Belakayy coming in with the Balor too heavy, please go easy title on their streams. So not showing a whole lot of confidence here against the former #1 caster Havoc 616 and the ninja of Path of Exile Zizaran.
I mean, they might not be feeling so confident, but as we all know, Havoc is washed up now, moving into full-time casting, trying to make his comeback to actual racing here, but does he have the chops for it? That's the question. And
yeah, it's gonna boil down as to how much they've been really practicing. Oftentimes in these team house, you know, initially you fly out to you know, perform and practice and really get on another level, but who knows? As far as we're concerned, maybe they've just been eating chips and eating brunch all day, man.
Yeah, they might have just been hitting up some of those coffee shops. I heard them talking about going on many outings, and instead of practicing when they should have been practicing, I think I saw like a 1-hour practice session. That's about it. So yeah,
That's
it really
it?
might not be enough. It really might not be enough. But then again, maybe in the downtime they've been practicing non-stop together in the same room, in the same bed. We shall see how it goes. But we are moving on to picks and bans here. I believe it is about time. So
Very much so.
Let's get... Don't look at the chat, Raiz. I'm going to get them to say their heads or tails first.
Okay.
And then you can pick.
All right.
All right. What is it, Raiz? Is it heads or tails?
It's heads again.
3 times in a row?
Easy.
This is rigged. It looks like Havoc and Ziz will be getting first pick. Or first ban, I should say. First ban, team 1. Let's get it on. Let's see how... Let's get it on, Raiz. Let's see how it goes, man.
Let's get it on, just as Havoc and Ziz have been getting it on all weekend long. And we're going to have to be seeing if they've decided on a similar strategy to the initial race.
They are opening up with fighting words here, banning Leap Slam from the outset. So, what do you say? A sign of weakness?
A little bit, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you can look at it both ways, right? Maybe it is a sign of weakness. You can see the immediate reaction from Havoc's and Ziz's face as they hear that the ban is Leap Slam. And yeah, that's
well,
an
the viewers
interesting
can't
one.
see that, but thank you for communicating.
Oh, the viewers can see that. Yeah, well, I'm relaying. Absolutely. There was a faint reaction. Little bit of a twitch.
Havoc's twitching over there. Our Team 2 ban is going to be Flame Dash, so there'll be no Flameme dashing happening here. What is going to be our Team 1 ban in response? So definitely the other team coming back swinging as well, saying if you're going to take our Leap Slam, we're going to take your Flame Dash. No one's going to have any move skills. We're going to see another Blink.
That's the interesting part. There was a little bit of surprise in general that I think they are targeting the movement skills. Zizaran and Havoc definitely discussing something. But
I can see some intense faces going on in the background. Let's see what that Team 1 ban is in response to both move skills being banned. Havoc is opting to ban Freezing Pulse.
Interesting. Just before that, Havoc did call out, let's just ban all movement skills. Ziz stepping in with the confidence call saying, let's get rid of Freeze Pulse. Havoc crumbles upon the pressure. We see who wears the pants in this relationship, and they end up choosing Freeze Pulse. Very interesting.
And BalorMage responding in kind with the Sunder ban. So no Leap Slam Sunder will be happening this race. It'll be interesting to see if the players had practiced any of these strategies and whether that's going to be coming into play. So now we get our Team 1 pick. And we'll find out who's gonna be playing what.
Interesting. So far in these races, we haven't really seen like a player-targeted ban. It's been mostly, let's get rid of the other comfort picks and like just mess up the day for the other team, rather than let's just absolutely destroy this one class that we know this player specializes in.
Ziz is going to be picking Ground Slam. So maybe a bit of a backup. Maybe he was planning on playing Sunder, possibly. But he picks Ground Slam. Team 2 gets their 2 picks now.
Interesting. They did ban Leap Slam, so maybe that was something that they were taking into account. Zizaran already sitting on a duel list, so either way, I think he's getting something that he wanted, but not quite what he wanted.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this has impacted their practice and strategies. It would have been wise to practice a few different combinations, potentially. Think about some likely bans and picks and practice that. And you don't know what Rise is going to say, although in terms of the coin toss, but maybe you do because you picked heads each time. Our other players getting their picks in.
Died.
We are seeing Rain of Arrows for BalorMage. And we're going to be seeing Blade Vortex for Belakayy, or Belakayy. Chat was correcting me, but
I think it's Belakayy.
Belakayy, okay. And then Havoc is the final pick. What are we going to be seeing here?
Interesting. So Rain of Arrows and Blade Vortex. So the same strategy that the previous team went for, right? Oh no, that was Sunder, I believe, and Rain of Arrows. Oh.
And we have Havoc's pick as Explosive Trap. Here we go.
What? That's crazy.
Although he says, or whatever the shadow starting trap is. Maybe he was planning, from the sounds of those words, maybe he was planning on picking Blade Vortex, but Belakayy's Blade Vortex pick has thrown him off a little bit. He was like, oh, I was playing shadow. It was going to be Blade Vortex. Is maybe a little bit of like, oh, I guess I'll just go with the starting shadow trap, whatever that's called.
Yeah, I think since they did choose to ban freeze balls, I believe he's basically going to be using the Frost Bomb, as the opposite team did not ban it. However, he basically doesn't have Onslaught all the way until level 4, and even then, it's a little bit tough. As Havoc chooses his character now rather than before, like Zizaran, so he does seem to be the more flexible player of the bunch. BalorMage and Belakayy still discussing. I think what they're trying to go for, BalorMage only making his character just now, ending up on a duel list. Do remember that the players don't necessarily have to focus on the main ability that they're using, but in the case of Havoc, he does have to use that ability, I believe, primarily, or I think so. Not exactly sure.
It's slightly awkward, but I mean, I think it's good enough for a Vaal kill, the setups that the players are going to be rocking here. Certainly, Havoc, I think, was probably planning on either taking that Freeze Pulse or Blade Vortex. Missing out on both of those might be a little bit of a change for him.
The organizer of the tournament is asking us if he can still use Frost Bomb. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the rules, he has to use Explosive Trap, I believe.
Yeah, for the kill, but I thought he could still use Frost Bomb as another backup skill, right?
I don't think so. The players are forced into using the main ability from the moment that they have access to it. And, well, Explosive Trap is a level 1 ability, so I think he's missing out on Onslaught. And Havoc is smiling here as somehow they did not think this through. Something tells me they did not think this through.
Uh-oh. Havoc getting screwed by his own rules there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I think he went under the impression that, yeah, he can use all these other abilities, but no, in the rules, clearly it is stated that he is forced into using that ability. But the moment he has to, he is able to equip it. Therefore, Yeah, as Waggle mentions in the chat over here, you guys might not see it. He should have picked Earthquake. I mean,
yeah, the old cheat strats might have been a
Yeah.
safer choice. Then he would have had a bit more flexibility, though again, not being able to potentially participate in that Vaal kill itself, except maybe with some default attack action. I would have allowed that.
yeah. Well, that would have been an interesting choice of strategy. Absolutely, he wouldn't be forced into a single skill, but he wouldn't be able to attack Vaal either. So that would leave Ziz to deal the majority of the damage. I mean, he could auto attack it. So.
Yeah,
Decisions.
Yeah, I want to see a player just opting for a Vaal Rain of Arrows pick or something like that as their cheat skill. All players starting at pretty much the exact same time there. Very nice. I'm looking forward to this race. I told Havoc, I warned him. I said I was going to be ruthless in my casting of you. Yeah, I feel like it's only right. I feel like it's only right. You gotta have a bit of fun at your caster's expense, I think, whenever they have a race.
Do remember that we are on Twitch, so you can't be too ruthless. Otherwise, it will be a hate crime. So that is something to absolutely keep in mind.
Damn, that's a little bit heavier than I was expecting.
I was like, do I want to go there or do I want to go there? I went, okay.
Well, it's too late now.
I'm not taking it back.
Marker TOS. Jeez. We see any interesting loot off our hillock kills there? Got a fancy hat for BalorMage. It's a very fancy hat.
Oh yeah, absolutely so. That's going to be helping out with a single target, for sure.
See medium life flask for Havoc. It's a nice little grab there. Vendoring a bit there. Is he going to go for an extra portal scroll here?
Yeah, that's typically the determining factor, absolutely. Whether or not they want to go for the big choice. Havoc hovering over the explosive trap, thinking about it for a second. You can see he's a little sad.
I mean, explosive trap, multi-trap's okay. Once you get that multi-trap up and running, it has a little bit of AoE clear speed, but he's definitely going to be having a little bit of a tough time in this race, I think. Because he's locked into explosive trap now.
Absolutely. Overall, I would say explosive trap is quite comparable with freeze pulls as long as you've got pretty decent pulls. It does limit the amount of mobs that you can kill in general, but as long as you're pulling well, you should be fine. The biggest aspect of it is the fact that it is on a trap, therefore the kill is counted towards the trap, therefore you don't get onslaught. That's a big deal. That's going to definitely hurt them.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an ouch on the missing onslaught there. And explosive trap also is a skill that I think actually takes a fair bit of practice. And if this was kind of like a last-minute panic pick for Havoc, then he might not have really practiced with explosive trap much beyond just using it in combination with freeze balls. So especially when it comes to that multi-trap, positioning those on the bosses to make sure 2 traps are landing if you're still multi-trapping for the bosses, or just hitting those packs efficiently. And it is it's powerful but a very small AoE, so you really need to group stuff up.
Yeah. That's absolutely it. That's definitely the case. But shadows should, in general, be used in that sort of playstyle. The usual Essence Drain Contagion setup, where you primarily use Contagion, definitely heavily relies on just trying to get as much done with as little AoE as possible. And you're kind of used to that no onslaught playstyle. That being said, Havoc is going for the Hellrake kill first, which is an interesting strategy already on Shadow, because he locked himself out of Frostbomb, and he is also opting to kill mobs prior to Hellrake, which indicates that he's trying to get level 3 so that his vendors are reset and he has another shot at possibly picking up movement speed boots or favorable colors on his main hand wand.
I won't be afraid to say when Havoc does things well, though. And he did get a good zone read there. He recognized that he was going to be going the long way around and backtracked and saved a lot of time there. He has set up that portal to bring Ziz into the Hellrake fight, and you can see him dancing around there. So the first time we're actually seeing that Hellrake duo kill there, which is
yeah, and you can tell that it's taking quite a bit of time, honestly. Ziz has taken a while to get over there. That's also something that Havoc was definitely taking into account, and that's why he was killing mobs. He immediately shares the other portal scroll so that both players have a means to get out and possibly portal the other player in. That being said, despite the wait time, BalorMage and Belakayy are still kind of behind, honestly. With Ziz having a submerged passage that he will now be teleporting Havoc into.
Yeah, a little bit ahead now, sorting out their in-town vendoring action. I was happy we saw the Hail Rake sharing action there. And I don't know, but yeah, he was dancing around for a while there. Maybe it would have actually been better for him to go the long way around Hail Rake, get a few extra kills along the way. But timing that's got to be difficult, though.
I think Havoc getting a little bit tilted, realizing that he is just barely off level, not quite getting the level that he wanted, checking vendors again, and then it hits him. Oh no, I didn't level up. I didn't have a possibility to reset my vendors.
Yep,
this was a waste of time.
Vendors.
That's a big deal. And also Zizaran doesn't teleport him in. They're betting on Ziz's recent, excessive almost practice for all of these events, and they're just betting on Ziz being the main runner and beating out the varied strategy of Belakayy and BalorMage. Interesting.
Yeah, a little bit of a potentially a bit of a jerk move there, not having some not having some portals dropped just so that Havoc could jump straight into the eggs. But yeah, I think you're right that Ziz is going to be taking advantage of that practice and being the runner here and progressing ahead as quickly as possible. While Havoc, I mean, with his limited AoE on his explosive trap, maybe spending a little bit of extra time killing some mobs as he progresses a little bit more slowly.
Yeah, and XPing it up, but that does lower their probability of getting those good layouts. And as Dead and Doom mentioned during the interview, Shadow is stronger than Duelist when it comes to the Act 1 progression if you do have access to a Frostbond, which again, Havoc locked himself out. So this is probably an adjustment to the strategy that they kind of must have made on the fly here, especially considering that, you know what, maybe because Havoc did drop that portal scroll for Ziz, and then Ziz doesn't put down the portal, maybe there's something going behind the scenes that we're not quite aware of here.
Havoc ate the last of Ziz's Cheerios, and
yeah,
he's not happy.
Somebody didn't wash the dishes. Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You see, BalorMage and Belakayy are both playing Frostblades as their opener skills, which is kind of cool to see, and maybe in response to that that Freeze Pulse ban as well, making Shadow's early game a little bit weaker.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, despite the wait time the Havoc had to commit to while waiting for Ziz to pick up his waypoint, Ziz is still in ledge, progressing quite well, making it past Kaduku, had a big shrine, getting another blue pack. Really nice progression so far, while the other team is a little bit behind and focusing on catching up here. BalorMage fighting a big blue pack, opting not to kill the rest of it. A little bit questionable. Maybe he's waiting for the mobs to chase him down, but I think he gets the majority.
He's trying to group up some extra mobs there, but did lose a couple blues.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that's going to hurt him in the long run. I'm sure he's communicating with his teammate, trying to get either similar levels of experience as they are not splitting up and forcing one player to level up. And what's also interesting is Belakayy opting to go for the strategy that we discussed initially, which is the Frostblades physical nodes pickup into Blade Vortex switch, which is very nice because it also allows you to not focus on Frostbomb and those elemental nodes that you get initially, and instead scale your abilities all the way through. The only difficult part being that Frostblades, it's pretty weapon dependent, so if you end up with weapons that aren't good enough, or if you don't have a 3-link as he doesn't, and you can't use Ancestral Call, that's gonna really hurt you. A little bit of a risque strategy here. Hopefully it will start working out a little bit better soon.
He grabs the shrine right before the door, taking an extra step to pick up the actual shrine there for some reason. Yeah, we're seeing Belakayy struggle at the moment with still just using the basic light daggers. Ooh, was that a log or a death?
That was a log out. He got super trapped. I was going to say that they should have been checking for vendors for the other person, but then I realized BalorMage is playing Frostblades too. No cleave. I understand that he can't play Grand Slam because one of the other players, Zizaran, has chosen to play Grand Slam. Therefore, the only ability that he has access to would be Cleave, which was not banned. But 2 players on Frostblades? That's risky. And you could tell because they're taking quite a bit of time to get out of this ledge, while also their Hellrake wasn't the fastest either.
Yeah, I think at this point with that log, BalorMage is just kind of, okay, I'm just going to farm then, and Belakayy will teleport me in once he gets to Brutus. So having the fallback safety net of having a second player since they were progressing pretty much simultaneously there, being quite helpful. Yeah, interesting that he didn't go for Cleave and instead went for Frostblades. I could see picking Frostblades if you had the right colors for it right off the bat, but we don't see that.
Zizaran. Ziz, is this the right way to go, or are you getting double lost here? Not so sure. Going to be finding out the shrine has created a little bit of a dead end for him.
Oh,
I do believe so, that he was going the right way. Unfortunately, a misread on this layout. Won't be able to get out. He did get to fight a little bit more mobs at the shrine, but, you know, at this point, Belakayy is pretty much caught up with him. He's at the same point as he is. Both of these progressing players kind of slowing down there for a little bit.
Yeah, the Frostblades is looking pretty rough for BalorMage and Belakayy right now. Belakayy having a real tough time killing his way through the skeletons and is going to have to log there. And as the player in the lead, he does lose a bit of time there since he was the runner. You don't want to have to be having to log as the runner there. It is not what you want at all. Checking his gems, realizing didn't actually need any of those. Those are not relevant for him.
Yeah, well, he is planning something. I don't know if he has this planned out. Come on, Belakayy. These are decisions that you have to be making a little bit faster than this. He did opt for the Attic Cold, which unfortunately requires a well, a setup that he doesn't have, and a setup that he actually won't be getting in general. Because if he does choose to go for the 3-link Frostblades, then he will be using well, I guess he can if he has a green red, or is that a green? No, it's a green, right?
Yeah, green, I think.
That's tough.
Yeah, you definitely want that Onslaught as the second green link there. So maybe head cold as the third, but it's not ideal exactly. Not exactly ideal. Just looking at that, Belakayy's damage is not able to kill the blue skellies. That's the thing. If he's planning on transitioning to Blade Vortex, it's all well and good to say, I'm going to use Frostblades for a while, but you know, you want caster weapons then, but in the meantime, yeah, do have to keep an eye out for a couple weapon upgrades, and being on those white daggers right now is just not what you want. And you can see he's really struggling on those packs there.
Especially since he doesn't have the chance to bleed that a duelist player starts off with. Zizaran TPing in Havoc for the Brutus fight. The boss itself is tagged. Ziz getting hit really hard by Brutus, but overall they seem to have the fight under control. Unfortunately, Havoc did not pick up a bear trap, which would be helping out with the mobility on Brutus. But as the fight goes on, Brutus keeps dipping, and Ziz keeps on hiding. Wow.
Pretty sure we just saw another Princess Saber. That is nutty.
That's crazy. Honestly, that's going to be saving them a lot of time here. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be huge as his offhand for Ground Slam. That works beautifully. He's like, yeah, I'm surprised we don't see a little bit of a cheer out of Ziz. I think he's just too focused here. He's like, all right, no time to celebrate. I have to be paying attention to what I'm getting here.
Honestly, Belakayy having an amazing layout on this incredibly difficult, amazing read on this incredibly difficult layout. Hopefully this will pay off for him because he is cutting some corners here. But overall, he's been recovering pretty well for from a layout that could tilt players forever. And as I say that, he runs into a huge dead end, so it didn't work out. None of it.
Ouch, damn.
Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty major. You can see that.
He zooms out. You get a look at that map. It's like, get a load of that thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. You had to go for the tough call. Unfortunately, a lot of players could have ended up in this situation, but this is something that these players essentially chose to do by only having one of the stronger players progress, and this is what we talked about all along, that, you know, with BalorMage struggling to get out of lower prison, they have a much higher chance of having just a worse layout, and that's further and further putting Havoc and Zizaran behind, ahead, who have had a pretty decent Vaal kill. I think overall, this is our third fastest team Vaal kill. Excuse me, Brutus kill.
Yeah, just Belakayy getting there just now, and certainly Ziz's Princess drop is going to help out a lot with offsetting Havoc's limitation to just explosive traps, so it's going to be a big deal for them in maintaining their lead moving forwards.
Yeah, absolutely so. You do see that Havoc is farming up. Yeah.
The Belakayy
Something
isn't
happened
even
with...
doing
Oh, okay.
BalorMage
BalorMage
logged.
logs out. Alright.
And I think accidentally closed the game. Might have hit escape after he logged out.
Mm-hmm. He's loading up. Things are happening. Belakayy is waiting for his teammate to come in as Brutus is already tagged while Zizaran is fighting a Essence mob. Maybe he is aware that they are a little bit ahead and they've got that preparation. Havok
Trying to
maybe being
consolidate
the
them.
more supporting player and just scouting out on the opposite team. I'm not sure.
Their Brutus is going down reasonably well. BalorMage going very low though. He
Woo!
does not want to die here. So far,
Yeah,
they haven't had a death. They've had a few logouts, but no deaths, so no penalties just yet. Getting the kill without dying, though going very low throughout the majority of that fight. Ziz's essence was actually an essence of contempt, so maybe realizing that princess scales off of physical damage, so I'll grab that contempt and craft myself a beast mode axe. And make full
it's
use
another
of that.
essence hatred this time. Wow. Okay, that's pretty major. Honestly, those resistances on a piece of armor makes a pretty big difference. Possibly, he could be equipping, using it on a pair of boots and
Changes
getting...
his mind, though.
Oh, he doesn't kill it?
Nah, I think that was an
I
aura
was
up
taking
ghost pack there. So he was
Oh,
like,
okay.
nah.
I was taking a peek at his gear, and yeah.
Nah, decided to skip it. It was either a vitality aura or a discipline aura. I'm not sure. It was definitely some sort of toughness aura going on. He's like, that's going to take way too long.
Yeah, that's pretty major. BalorMage and Belakayy getting out of town, trying to progress. They did split up, so we'll be seeing if one of the players is farming or if they're focusing on progression. BalorMage considering a Haku mission here, decides not to go for it, but you could see some
Probably
serious
ideal.
distress in his face.
It's like, oh, but I really need that Master XP though. Havoc
Yeah.
does get, he throws an essence on his wand and gets a +1 cold gems. Unfortunately, though, that's not going to help with his fire explosive trap.
That
which
would have
is
been
indeed
incredibly
fire.
useful if only he didn't choose explosive trap and would have had access
Yup.
to frost bump.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. It's a little bit unfortunate. At least it does have a bit of cold damage to spells in addition to spell damage, so that is something at least. Not a complete loss.
Yeah, but this really goes to show, right? Because initially the choice from, I believe, Waggle wasn't as understandable when it came to the fire trap. It's like, whoa, there's better single target skills. So why would you choose fire trap? Well, it does open him an opportunity to use all these other abilities in the early game and doesn't lock him into a subpar Act 1 ability like Havok is locked into right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting point about the strategy for picking in this is that picking a level 1 skill does really limit you quite a bit, whereas you have a bit more freedom if you pick a later one, and we definitely saw that getting used by Waggle with the Earthquake pick.
Yep, absolutely. Ziz is hurting. He just barely entered Caverns of Anger. I believe he does have Whirling Blades, so we're going to be seeing how strong that's going to be. In the previous race that we saw, it was pretty good, but that's Whirling Blades with Ground Slam. Bit weird.
It is a bit weird, but it's working.
The Caverns of Anger time wasn't that great, so hopefully you'll be able to be making up a little bit more time here as he does progress through the zone.
Ziz's signature Vigilant Strike there as well. It's definitely become a bit of a thing for him. He's used it to great effect in a lot of races here. And he's going to be starting the Vaal fight and getting that as a little bit of an advantage. His Princess is equipped now, so he's going to have pretty good damage to this fight. And you can see huge damage. It's going to be pretty much done by the time Havok gets there, which is just fine by them.
Yeah, Havok's just waiting it out, getting his gear ready. He knows that Ziz can take down this boss on his own. Makes sure that the second phase is one player tagged, waits it out, Ziz makes the call. Havok gets in, gets the kill.
Havok helps out with a couple explosive traps just right there at the end. Ziz dropping both his Quicksilver Flasks that he managed to pick up there for Havok to equip. So Havok can do some running now, it seems.
Okay, interesting. I would imagine this is strictly because Havok is slowly but surely falling further and further behind as he does not have the just doesn't have the levels. Interesting also, Ziz trades Havok a red gem. Shadows do not have access to a red gem. This is for the purpose of crafting a +1
very smart play
wand. This is a very smart play. Yeah.
I like that a lot. There he goes. He gets that +1 fire. And it looks like a 3-link as well. So that's pretty much ideal. Throws a suffix on there just in case. But I can't even think there's many suffixes you could get on a wand for a fire trap that are going to help out a lot. It's not like cast speed's going to help so much.
Well, normally... Oh, Belakayy going down. Not having that movement ability. He just simply gets locked in place by a bunch of sirens. At which point, he gets destroyed by waves on, I believe, a shrine blocking his way.
Yeah. They might have had the diamond shrine even there,
Diamond.
possibly. Ooh, brutal. And I saw that when he portaled back in, when he waypointed back in, he equipped 2 sapphire rings that he had in his inventory. So had they been equipped, he might not have died there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He could have held that together, but unfortunately, he didn't quite make the right call there. And he paid for it with his life. I am a little bit concerned for Havoc and Ziz here. They might be getting a little bit frustrated because at this point, they have a pretty decent lead over the opposing team. However, if they don't start picking up the pace, it might be pretty tough for them to beat out the first team of Freak and Don the Crown to get in. Although they would still be able to get in, right? If they're the first team, they still get in to the final?
Yeah, if they win,
worse.
they move on, and they'll be fine. It's just for the second places in each race to be duking it out, comparing their times to see who goes on. So 2 of the 3 losers will move on to the losers bracket.
Oh, then it's really on BalorMage and Belakayy to pick it up here. Hopefully they can hit their 3 links. They've had really bad RNG so far, honestly, especially considering their a little bit unusual strategy. Hopefully they can start getting some luck here and pulling ahead. Ideally,
you really want to be winning this race so that you are guaranteed to move on and not having to play the odds of going into a second race and you know, potentially getting knocked out of that. So I'm sure they'll be trying to gun for that still, but yeah, at the very least, potentially getting a time to move on to the losers bracket and have another shot at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. The faster you go, the higher the possibility that you're going to be beating out the other team, which does have a skill disadvantage. And honestly, that being said, they did seem like they are quite a bit behind, but now that they have made it to Merville...
Not that far,
okay, I was going to say they caught up. They're not that far behind, but their Merville kill, it's taken a while.
Oh yeah, we see Belakayy still on the white daggers from the looks of things, which is just brutal. He's using Viper Strike at least, which helps a little bit, but yeah, it's not a fast Merville kill.
Well, I did notice that they were using the same filter. I'm not sure if it's the same variant of the filter, but there is a possibility that having both used maybe some sort of melee or caster filter, they simply messed themselves over with the filter itself, being unable to pick up the correct items.
That's a challenging thing with the picks and ban system, is if you have filters designed for certain playstyles and then you have to go for a playstyle last minute, you might not have a filter set up for it, which means you might be missing some key items.
Absolutely so, yeah, that's very difficult to pull through. Because if you go with a general filter, then you're possibly wasting time on reading things that you shouldn't be looking at.
With the Flame Dash ban, Havoc has picked up a Lightning Warp, and that thing's pretty slow, so we only saw that... I think we only really saw that for him skipping the bridges. And I don't think we'll see it too much more for the rest of the race. A couple more skips here and there, maybe.
Yeah, very much so. But honestly, he's kind of keeping up with Ziz's Grand Slam and Whirling Blades. You can see Havoc's trying to make it over while killing the mobs, so it's not that far off.
The timing's pretty good here. He's going to be at Weaver, you know, and maybe just a little bit behind on his getting to Weaver for Ziz being done there. So Ziz has left the portal for Havoc to grab his gem, and he's going to be heading over to help with the Weaver as soon as Havoc drops that portal. And looks like he's just found it now, so skipping some packs just so he can get there and get that portal down for Ziz so they're not losing any time.
Yeah. I thought that maybe Ziz is going to opt for the run to Broken Bridge, but they communicated correctly that he does not have enough time to do something like that. He instead had to wait. Yeah. Okay, very nice. Interesting choice also for Havok to be going to the left side, being the player who... Well, going to the left side, generally you have to make up less ground, but you have to kill more stuff. And his setup isn't the best for killing stuff.
Not
So,
exactly, no. But I mean, at this point, multi-trap, explosive trap seems somewhat competitive with ground
yeah.
slam. But Ziz's damage
Well,
is just so good, which makes the difference there.
yeah, I think the onslaught being the biggest factor in all of this, but they ended up syncing it up pretty well. So great communication here from these players, despite the maybe surprise in their own bans and picks.
Yeah, I think this has been the most interesting race in terms of seemingly players being relegated to builds that they weren't really planning on. Though Ziz seems pretty comfortable on his setup. I think he might have been reasonably happy with this. Like, he might have been willing to go Sunder, or like planning for Sunder, but expecting that he might have to go Ground Slam instead.
We can see that Belakayy has switched to a Frost Bomb. Little bit late. And also, he's still waiting to pick up the Blade Vortex, so hopefully he can do enough here. He's not quite able to kill the amount of mobs that you usually would be killing. I'm not sure if he opted to go for the elemental nodes or if he was full physical from the beginning. His damage didn't quite indicate it, but
Yeah, I
at
guess
the
just
same
realizing
time,
that Frost Blades was just not doing enough now, but even that Frost Bomb now is not doing enough. He's not spec for
yeah,
that. And I don't even
he
know
has
if
to
it's
be
a little...
one-shotting, and he's not doing it. He's running past blue packs. He's double hitting bears. He really has to pick up the pace here and get some kills done to hopefully get that Blade Vortex as soon as possible.
Yeah, at this point he wants to get that ASAP because he's gonna be having a tough time. I'm sure he's gonna be hitting XP penalties if he's not able to kill stuff. Not sure what level he is right now, but it's gonna get rough.
Oh, you would have to be level 11. Unless he's even lower, but I wouldn't imagine so. I didn't quite catch if he had the Blade Vortex in his inventory. And that being said, Havok and Ziz have now taken care of Alira, and they are progressing with Havok, picking up the Riverways waypoint and running all the way over to Oak.
They're progressing very smoothly. You know?
Yeah, they're
like
actually
having a bit of an unusual setup, but yeah, it's been running very cleanly for them.
Oh yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
Doing a bit more crafting there. Moves his explosive trap out of his wand. What did he get there? I wonder. That made some changes happen.
Maybe he moved out away the multi-strike just for a higher single, or the multi-trap just for a higher single target.
Ah, yeah, it might have just been that.
Wow, both BalorMage and Belakayy making the adjustment, with BalorMage switching to Rain of Arrows now, and yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. It is something that I didn't recognize. Yeah, BalorMage was going for the Rain of Arrows, however, he was a duelist, so the melee into bow swap displayed a lot of confidence, honestly, something that we didn't think about initially.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
I didn't even pick up on that he like picked Rain of Arrows but was running a duelist. I was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm wait a minute.
Yeah, duelist is a solid pick. That's something from the older races that players used to run, where you would always have two classes that would essentially run Lightning Arrow for those team races just because of the sheer damage output. One of those classes being considered the stronger one was the duelist over the Ranger even, so very interesting here. Bringing back a little bit of the past, hopefully it ends up working out, because damage most definitely and clear is significantly better from the previously used Frostblades.
It's always good to see a little bit of references to some of the old school racing days, the golden days of old school PoE racing.
Hell yeah. Well, hopefully they didn't catch any of the 3-year-old guides for PoE group racing, but maybe a little bit. Something like this would be mostly indicative of a XP race, something that you would farm in Northern Forest possibly, but that's not the type of race that these players are participating in now, so...
Yeah, but that said, Rain of Arrows was a pretty legit racing skill back in the day. It wasn't so good more recently, but now it's back in a big way. The old Rain of Arrows rework looking pretty solid for as far as if you're going to be racing with a bow.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to transition into something like Lightning Arrow initially. So
Belakayy
definitely
does
going
have
to
his
be
Blade
costing.
Vortex now, finally. And he's on the Fetalitis kill. I'm a bit worried about this fight, so just paying close attention to this one.
I'm
Because,
worried about both of these fights.
oh,
Both
Belakayy does go
Fidelitas.
down.
Yep. Both Fidelitas and... Oh no, he doesn't have a... Did he put down a TP?
I don't think he did, no. He's TPing out now. Looks like he's going to join the Weaver fight. And
Yeah,
maybe
he
getting a
has
bit of
to at
help
this point.
with Fetalitis. Brutal.
Yeah, he doesn't want to keep BalorMage waiting. He joins up for the Fidelitas as Havoc and Zizaran get through Northern Forest, trying to get for that Vaal kill at the 29 minutes and 50 seconds pace. Which is not bad.
We're going to see a little bit of help on the... did they swap? I think they might have swapped.
Yeah.
For the Fetalitis kill.
I do believe so.
That might be the go. Blade Vortex a little bit riskier. Oh, change of plans though.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, Belakayy with the title BalorMage Too Heavy, Please Go Easy. BalorMage has been showing quite a bit of class so far in this raid with Belakayy maybe failing his teammate a little bit. Hopefully that's not getting to their head and they can get it together and keep on progressing.
Yeah, BalorMage is definitely not being carried here. He is doing his side of things quite adequately.
Yeah. Absolutely so. They did go with that initial risky strategy, like mentioned before. Neither one of them had a 3-link, 4 Act 1, 4 Frostblades, which again, it's a big deal. But they are syncing up now with that Lyra plus Fidelitas kill, which was something that worked out better for the first race for Garatha and Waggle.
He gets a unique drop, Wheel of the Storm something. That thing, Magic Finding Shield. Not actually.
Probably not going to help.
Yeah. There's a lot of uniques that are like, well, it's actually pretty good in a race. You might not think it, but it actually is. But this one is not one of them. Does not have any
This
relevant
one's not
stats.
one of them. Yeah, absolutely so. That one, not very good. Maybe they can give it to the player who dropped the Sedimas previously for a little bit of MFing, but no, in this race in particular, it won't be helping out.
Yeah, not exactly. Zizaran backtracking a lot through his Ancient Pyramid, not getting the zone reads quite a bit, just doing a full explore of that map. He is taking some cartography lessons here by the looks of things.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate part of Ancient Pyramid. A lot of players don't recognize this, but it's a genuine pyramid with every layer getting smaller and smaller. Unfortunately, the first passage to the next level of the zone is random in which corner it will be. However, each of the next ones is absolutely across the entrance to the previous zone. So Ziz knows at this point where he needs to go, despite the first zone being a little bit unfavorable.
You know, I never considered the fact that the pyramid is pyramid-shaped.
I know! Nobody ever
thought
thinks
never crossed
about
my
it.
mind.
Every zone gets smaller. Yeah.
Wow. So it does. Yeah. And then you reach the pyramid apex, which just so happens to be a vacuum cleaner, just like in real life.
I don't know. I've never been inside of a pyramid. Maybe.
Oh, the Australian pyramid.
Maybe that is something.
At Uluru. That's what they like. But anyway, back to the race. We see the Vaal kill happening for Ziz and Havoc now, barring any unfortunate vacuum cleaner related incidents. But I have to hand it to you. I said, Havoc, I said I was going to be rough on you, mate, with my casting, but he's been making the best of his explosive trap setup.
Oh yeah, I think honestly, considering their skill selection and whatnot, Ziz has definitely been pulling the majority of the weight here. But but Havoc has adjusted appropriately to their unfortunate skill pick, and yeah, he's been showing us something. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, this team's doing a good job, and Ziz's damage is looking very nice, and we get the kill there, almost with the streams in sync. Nicely done, Havoc and Ziz will be moving on to the semifinals. Good on them. Very solid stuff.
We still have BalorMage and Belakayy hitting their final time. Let's see where they end up. If they are going to be able to make it through to the losers bracket and the final match of today. Unfortunately,
the chance for another run is on the line here, so they want to be moving as quickly as possible. I don't quite recall the times of the other two losers brackets potential teams, potentialies.
Yeah. If we could have an update possibly from Jamsa as to the final times of the second teams, that would be great so that we can know what we're aiming for here and whether or not they have a shot at possibly getting it through to that final bracket.
What do you do in this situation, do you think? Do you keep killing stuff, try and keep that XP up, or do you just start blasting through and try and
You run.
Vaal
I'm not
wherever you can?
sure. I'm not sure if they're aware of the situation that they're in, what's on the line right now, and whether or not they can make an appropriate adjustment to possibly still have a shot at the losers bracket finals here. It's gonna be tough. Honestly, I would personally run, but again, they might not be aware of where they're at in the standings.
I'm going to zoom in on our two players here. Our teammates racing against the clock. Short refresh, guys, as we zoom in. Our times to beat, if... oh, dear.
Uh-oh.
What have I done? I screwed it up. Sorry, guys. Scuffed havoc here. Here we go.
Our times to beat are 36 minutes and 35 minutes for Freak and Dawn, which, unless they kill Vaal in a minute, they won't be able to beat. And the other time, they're already unable to beat, which was 30 minutes and 21 seconds for Gucci and Stupid Fine Hobbit, which I would like to mention was the second team, the team that got second in that race, and they were still 3 minutes faster than the winners of this race, which was Havoc and Zizaran. So this is going to be definitely a feisty lower bracket group here.
Definitely some scuffed camera work from the camera guy there. I'll definitely be having a talk to him after the race. My apologies, guys. But we are back on track now. Somewhat.
Somewhat back on track here. But yeah, I mean, this is tough. BalorMage and Belakayy have they still have about 5 seconds to get into the losers brackets.
Ooh, that's gonna be a tough one.
That is
a tough one.
They gotta go Super Saiyan 3 or something. Something's not right here. Yeah, that's gonna be unfortunate, but we're still gonna cheer them on and see how they're pulling through and get the final idea of the final bracket in just a minute, as they are starting to progress quite a bit faster now. Hopefully,
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
gonna make it
We're
in
always cheering on each of the races, even if they aren't quite able to progress on to the next round. We just want to see, ooh, people going very low is always a classic. I love it. Belakayy having a bit of an issue with some snakes there. There's a lot of scary monsters in that dark forest there. Also, spooky zone with that light radius. Definitely want to stack some light radius before you go in there.
Yeah, for sure. The Northern Forest is a little bit scary. In those XP races in the past, woo, BalorMage dropping low, pulling
very
back
low.
into the safety of a Devourer's embrace.
That's not the way you want to be running, maybe.
No,
not the safe embrace that you want to be taking in that situation, I don't think. Both players having a very spooky time in the Northern Forest. So I like to see. Nice immersive thematic run here.
very much. They are making it through. They are splitting up, so they are choosing the correct strategy, smiling about it, being a little bit serious at the same time, seeing how far can they take this, possibly setting a record time for themselves. We'll be seeing the results in just a little bit. Overall, honestly, I think they had the right strategy, they had the right idea, except those Frostblades. That really was quite unlucky how they didn't land on that 3-link throughout the entirety of the race. Having seen in one of the previous racing community events, one of the other weekends, seeing players such as Fightgar now have a 3-link on Frostblades, and what it really does to the clear speed of a good player, it's pretty major. It's a big deal.
Yeah, that's it. You need to get those sorts of things refined a little bit. Like, I think the Frostblades is a gambly pick. If you have the links from Hillock, then it's a pretty safe pick. But otherwise, we definitely saw it being the thing to hold these guys back a great deal. It's that sort of thing just snowballs a lot when you can't kill stuff early on. Gets hard to keep up as you progress.
Oh yeah, absolutely so. It's very tough to make up for something like that. And I mean, the time that you've got lost in Act 1, you can't really make it up unless you've got some insane Act 2 RNG. Act 1 can be very random on those times, and it does seem like they've been making up quite a bit of time despite the confusion in Act 2. So it's good on them that they're staying vigilant and progressing through without worrying about a thing. And that being said, Belakayy is struggling with this caverns layout.
You might want to get that portal from his butt, I think. Or does he... Oh, yeah, no, he's in the lead, though, still. But it's not by much at this point with the backtracking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough layout. Honestly, the layout reading up from the right side is a very tough one, especially if you've got a master in the zone. Most of the time, it will be a middle layout, which is where he is heading right now. But it could also be on the opposite. But I have also seen... There you go. It is the middle layout. But I have also seen the very extremely rare layout in this zone where you have to go past the masters. Is really 1 in 1,000, but whew, if you get that, that's a tilter. That's gonna tilt you for many races to come.
I love those 1 in 1,000 moments. Those ghosted Vaals, those masters in just the right spot. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We do have confirmation that the next upcoming race is the finals of the loser bracket, which will determine the entries for the semifinals, I believe, which will be Gucci Pradas and Stupid Fat Hobbit versus Freak and Don the Crown.
Yep, those guys will both be having a shot to move on to the semifinals to redeem themselves after losing the earlier races. Which is, you get your serious face on, you get your game face on in that situation. I feel like you're even more motivated than that first race. You're like, all right, we can do better. We know what we did wrong last time. And it's going to be interesting because we had a much significantly slower time for Gucci and Hobbit. But that was because of some major mistakes. That's something they could easily work out in their second race. So it could be a pretty competitive race in that regard then.
I think you got it mixed up. It was Don the Crown and Freak who had the
my mistake
issues, and then Gucci Pradas and Hobbit actually, I believe, had the second fastest time overall.
Yeah, that's true. My bad, yeah, wrong way around there. Other way around.
So despite the fact that there was a pretty big difference in their initial races when it comes to the time management, again, you have to remember that Freak and Don the Crown have had some technical difficulties, some nothing that they can't make up in this next race. Well, Gucci and Hobbit seem to have had almost a race of their life here. Uh-oh, is that a... Oh, no. It might have been a two-player tagged Vaal.
BalorMage, this is going to be a long fight for them because their damage is also not quite up to par. We're going to see a few ads phases here, I think, and then we'll go into the second one.
Yep. I do believe that this is one player tag, but unfortunately they did make appropriate adjustments to their gear setup, but it might just be too little, too late. There's a slam coming in. Somebody tanks it.
Yeah, it might have been a blocker and evade there on the slam. A little lucky, perhaps.
Oh, no, he took it.
Oh, he took
it like a man. He took it.
Nice. And there we go, getting their kill. Finally at the end there at 42:45. Their time is almost exactly in sync. Nice to see. Congrats to BalorMage and Belakayy for making it through. And in a little bit of time, a very short amount of time, we're going to be moving on to the next and final bracket. So I have a little bit of background work to do, so we're going to have a short intermission.
3 minutes
get
of
things
time.
Set up. Yes. So we shall see you guys in just a couple minutes.
See you guys soon.